Hello everyone, I'm Danae. Welcome to my art room. Today I'm going to have some fun using this gel press. This is new to me. I've played with it a couple of times, but I'm still, kind of breaking it in and getting used to it. It is 12 by 14 inches. And today I'm going to use a new stencil, which I ordered from Joggles. It is honeybees number 75059. And I saw this and I thought it would be really cute with this. I've used this in a previous video. It's a cake mold or a candy mold. I found it on sale at Hobby Lobby, and I've used it to make gel prints. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm excited to see what happens. So come along with me. So today I'm going to be using newsprint, and these sheets are 12 by 18. I also have some medical exam paper that I've cut up. So we might use some of that. And then these are papers that I've done previously, just in sort of the same colors that I think I'm going to use today. So I have this very fallish kind of palette I'm thinking about. Gold, Indian yellow, red oxide. This is Azo yellow light, which is probably too light, but if I mix the yellows together, I'll get a really nice, lovely color. This is copper, and I have some raw umber here. And I mean, of course, I might pull in other colors as I go along, just depending on what I'm seeing. So I want to do jelly prints, but I may also pull out a brush like this, a blender brush, and do maybe some more mark making using the stencil in that way rather than strictly on the jelly print. I don't know. I'm gonna play around and see what happens, and I'm excited that you're here to join me. So I've already changed my mind. I'm not going to start with acrylic ink. I'm going to start with alcohol ink. I love using alcohol ink on my gel plate. And when it's a new stencil like this, it sticks really well to the gel plate, which means that it'll be able to keep the alcohol inks from spreading underneath. I'm really bad about cleaning my stencils. So as I put paint on them, those paint layers can build up, and even though they still work great, they don't always have really crisp lines with alcohol inks because it'll just seep right under the seams. So I put this on the plate just to measure it out, so I knew how much space I would need, and it just sucked right down into the plate, and I thought, it's perfect for alcohol inks. So that's what I'm gonna start with today. So this took forever to dry, and it's still even a little tacky, some of these black spots, but I am now super impatient, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my pickup coat or pickup layer and my paper. And some of this black is likely to smear, and I'm just gonna have to be okay with that. I am using the newsprint to pick it up because newsprint is very absorbent and will do a great job releasing those layers underneath it. But I'm still going to put some books on this and leave it to dry for several hours. So right now it's the afternoon. I teach dance, so I will be gone until late tonight, and I may or may not do the pickup then. Otherwise, it will be tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. So this is the next day, and I'm removing the gel plate from the print rather than the other way around, just to help all those layers stick to the paper. I think this turned out really well. I'm not a huge fan of the background color I chose, but all in all, I think it was nice. So now I'm going to go into gel printing some layers. And this first one, I've added the stencil and then, oops, almost forgot to remove it. And then I'm adding just the print to the paper. And then I'm adding the stencil with the side on the paint to another paper I have just sitting beside me. And this turned out really well. I love that. I'll show you all the papers that I've got at the end, so we kind of quickly go through them here as I pull them, but I'll show you them again at the very end. If you're not interested in listening to me talk through this whole process, you can always just put me on mute and put on your own favorite music to listen to. Here is just a background. I just wanted a white background. I think I do a couple of backgrounds actually on the newsprint paper. This is red iron oxide. It's a great color. So here I've picked up some of that white that was left on the print as well, or rather the white left on the plate, and I've picked that up. So now I've got a couple of colors. So here I'm going to do the same technique where I'm putting the stencil first, and then I'm going to add the paint on top so that when I remove the stencil, I've got all of those images captured. And on the side of this, I'm going to use a baking mat, which I made another video where I used this baking mat to make prints on the gel plate, and I will link that in the description box below. This is something I found at a local craft store, and it was on sale, and it makes really fun prints, and it's perfect bee motif to go with this stencil. And here I'm just trying to get that paint off the stencil and putting it onto a background I already had. And then here's the print. Turned out really nice. Really happy with that. So this is a black that I mix myself. I start with a base of black paint, but then I also add lots of colors to it. So there's Payne's gray and there's red and there's magenta and green and whatever I just have sitting around. I add it into the black paint and it just creates a really lovely depth to the black so it's not quite so flat. This is medical exam paper that I'm using. Medical exam paper is really good on the gel plate. It acts very much like wet strength tissue. It's very strong, very absorbent. So here I'm going with the black paint again. I decided I really like this technique. You can put the paint down, put the stencil down, and then pull the print through the stencil. This is just another way of getting the print, the paint and the stencil, is to put the stencil down first and add the paint on top. This is a paper, this is just copy paper. So when I started this gel printing session, I just pulled papers that I had that were in the right color family. So some of these I didn't make at this time. They were prints I already had. So I'm just clearing up the black from around this print, and this one again turns out really nice. The black wasn't as solid a color as I maybe would have liked, but I like the contrast between the metallic background and the black print. If you're going to mix paint on your gel plate, just remember to keep stirring and mixing until you've got a background that you like. If you want a more marble, then you're going to mix less. And if you want it very mixed and very smooth, then you're going to mix more. So here I'm just going to rub into all of those holes in the stencil to pick up as much color as I can. That one turned out pretty cool. And I'm going to do it again because there was a lot of paint left on the plate. Wax paper, if you have it, is another really great way to pick up paint off of the gel plate. That will typically clean the plate really well. And here, when I lift this up, I'll have the ghost, which I'm adding, I believe this is medical exam paper as well. And just rolling off the paint from my stencil. And that's a bit more subtle. And I have even another ghost. I'm going to try and see if I can pull off the rest of the paint. And it's very, very subtle, but it's there. So this is my stash of papers. This one is the alcohol ink on newsprint, which I did first. These are medical exam papers. When I clean off the alcohol ink, I just place my stencil on top of some paper, tissue paper, medical exam paper, could be any kind of paper. And I spray it with alcohol, and then it will release the color onto the paper. So these are all bonus pickups from that process. And the more saturated the color, the sooner I did it in the process, but I spray it and I clean it up multiple times with the alcohol ink so I get lots. I'll show you at the end what I'm going to do with that, with those papers. This is copy paper, and these, I think the rest of these are medical exam paper. You can see how subtle that one turned out. Really nice. This one was a sheet of paper I was just using to pick up extra paint and got that ghost. Looks really nice. The black here is very dramatic. I think that's black and copper. Really nice. And then this is a similar one. Not sure if I like the dark ones. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have fun practicing with those. That one turned out beautifully. That was a piece I had already and just rolled the paint off from the stencil. That one's a nice one. Yeah, these were fun. I love the bee motif. Really cute. So it was fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with these. I'll have to think about a fun project, but it was really cute. I like the results. So here I'm going to show you what I do with those extra papers of alcohol ink. This is just a piece of copy paper that I found in my stash of paper. And actually, I wish I had pulled something that was darker because it would show more. Um, this is quite pale, so it's a little harder to see how the medical exam paper becomes transparent as I apply the gel gloss. It would be more obvious if I had chosen a paper with a darker color, so the background was darker and you would see it come through. But you can add gloss medium, you can add matte medium. I find that the glosses work the best to create transparent papers. I personally don't like the really glossy high shine finish, so I would then go over this with matte medium. Thank you for joining me today, and all the best with your own creation. Here are some videos that might inspire you to continue to make some great art. All the best, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!